Kain refused the sacrifice.
Hello everyone, I am Izzy Noodles. Welcome back to the final part of Soul Reaver 2. In the last video, we finally met with Janos Audron, but then the Sarafan stormed in and Janos transported Raziel here to the Fire Forge. So this is not a faraway location, Raziel is only in the next room, and he cannot leave here to aid Janos until we have acquired the Fire Reaver. So last time during the cutscene at the end here, we were shown some points of interest. So I will add them in right now just to refresh your memory. Okay, so now let's hop on down. So I'm gonna come all the way to the far end. So the main goal here is to grab a torch. So we want a torch, which is just behind me on the wall. There's a few of them. And we want to get a lit torch up to the top where I've just hopped down from. So there's a few sequences here to do, and you might wonder what to do next. So we can easily grab a torch and light it, but we don't know what we're doing with it once it's lit. But actually we need to light it and then the sequence will change. Okay, so a lot of these sequences are timed. You want to go quickly. So we're just hopping across these blocks to the other side, and you can see there is a pot at the other side. Here we are. So now, well, if you actually fall in, you will obviously lose your torch. And any location where you can get a torch from, they'll always respawn back there. So don't think you've just gone and screwed yourself up, because you've not. You will always have torches at the torch locations. So now let's go ahead and place this in the pot. Okay, we've got the next sequence now, so we can see that these air jets, we can use the Air Reaver for those, but we don't have access to an Air Reaver. There is a font over here, but this is the light font. You've just seen below as I've fallen down into the water, that is the air font, but we only have access to the light font right now. So if you look at the ground where I'm standing, the font itself is on a lighter section and I'm standing on a different section. So sometimes you might think you can get to a font, but unless it's got this outer section that you can stand on, you actually can't stand near the font to use it. So just be aware of that. If you can't stand near it, you can't use it. So let's do the only thing we seemingly can do. Just pick the Light Reaver. And don't forget the crystal on the ceiling. It's very easy to forget about this because it's high up and you just can't see it. So let's just go ahead and see if anything will happen if we shoot it. Okay, the water level has gone down. So this is a timed sequence, and we can actually now swap for the Air Reaver. So give it a moment, the water will come back up. Okie dokie. And the confusing thing is... actually no, I thought I'd been moved in that sequence, but I haven't. It's fine. I think I just imagined it every single time. Okay. So now you can hop on out and we can activate these jets. So you only need to activate one of them and it will activate all of them at the same time. Okay, so now we can use these to get another torch to the top straight ahead. So the torches are over here. And actually if you fall in with an unlit torch, the torch remains in your hand, so that's helpful. It's only if it's a lit torch, then it just disappears. Okay, so use the jets of air. If you kind of hit the ceiling like that and bounce off, you kind of want to try again. Sometimes it can be tricky because it's weird. The moment you lose the glide, he just falls straight downward. You see how he just bounces straight down? Will I make that one? Sick of bouncing around. Okay, that's good. Okay, this is a good glide. Okay, this one's not too difficult, so there we go. So then put the torch in the pot. Okay, and we've got a new sequence to do. So let's come on to this light font, because seemingly that's the only thing we can really do. If you have a look around, it's the only thing to do. So we're gonna swap back to the Light Reaver. Okay, and come back over to where we just lit this pot. Okay, and this sequence you gotta be quick. So I'm gonna shoot the crystal and that will change the sequence, and then quickly I'm gonna grab a torch from the wall and light it. Okay, grab a torch, light it, and come forward, and we can see what's changing. We've got these air jets now. We're gonna use these to get to the very top of the area where we entered this section. So this is the last sequence. So you want to use the jets and do not glide under the spouts. They will actually douse your torch. Alright, there we go. Challenge done. So now we just need to put fire into the forge. Whoop. Awesome, so the forge is now active and we can obtain the Fire Reaver.
I plunged the Reaver into that furnace and forged the blade with elemental fire. With the Reaver thus imbued, I was now armed to unlock the elemental barrier and rescue Janos from his executioners.
Okay, so now we can get out of here. So again, the health has gone up. And this is the last Reaver we will be requiring. There is no water or earth Reavers. This is it. We have them all now. So come to the door and go ahead and use the Reaver to open it up.
Hold him! Look at his black heart! How it still beats!
To bury us alive. Raziel, we must get out of here.
Remember the sword!
Forgive me. I'm sorry. I failed you.
No, Razia. Perhaps this was my true purpose. Simply to save your life this once.
While I have taken yours.
Embrace your destiny, Razia. You must reclaim the Reaver. It was forged for you and you alone. Without it, there is no hope.
As I backed away from Janos's body, I was overwhelmed by a sense of self-loathing so deep I could barely contain it. In that instant, I rejected all that I ever was, and embraced the role Janos had safeguarded for me so patiently throughout the centuries. I knew then what I had to do, the task for which I was uniquely prepared. I would pursue the Sarafan dogs to their loathsome fortress and avenge Janos Audron's murder. Mobius would pay dearly for his treachery, and my Sarafan brethren would reap the horrors they had sown. I would retake the stolen Reaver, which was rightfully mine. And finally, when all these debts had been paid, I would reclaim Janos Audron's heart from their filthy, unworthy hands. If the heart was truly imbued with the power to restore vampiric unlife, its highest purpose was clear to me. I would restore the heart to Janos, and thus undo the vile crime committed by my abominable former self.
Okay, so we have just met Raziel in his human form. So all these years before Raziel became a vampire, that's him. So we are going to go back to the Sarafan Stronghold to avenge Janos. We're gonna go beat ourselves up. So yeah, that is where we are heading, and there will be many forced battles on the way.
We've been expecting you, little Raziel.
So, these demonic pests were not merely the product of Nosgoth's corrupted future. For here they were, hurtling back over 5 centuries to pursue me. These creatures, I suspected, were minions of the unseen forces that had hoped to control me. This was the tangible expression of their displeasure. These demons were unleashed as the penalty for my disobedience.
Okay, so those are gas demons, and they are just as big a pushovers as the blade demons. Oh, there's more? Oh, you guys. Okay. I got a little stuck just there.
Let me enlighten you, poor Raziel.
Okay, the worst demons. Actually, no, not the worst. I'm just gonna attack him with claws to see if I can get a bit of health back. So sometimes you wanna be careful when attacking with claws, because you won't even get very much health back if you keep getting hit. So that's pretty much what it was before I started attacking him. So if necessary, just shift into the spectral realm and then shift back again, and your health will be full. So there are a couple of enemies here, so I'm gonna take out the woman, because she will just shoot projectiles. And there's not even a guy up here. I thought there might be. Where's the woman? I don't know. Well, ow! If she's far away, wow, what are you doing? She will just keep shooting projectiles, so be aware of that. Try to deal with these ladies first. Okay. Okay. Probably futile efforts. Okay, not futile efforts. That's cool. So, here we are at Uschtenheim.
There he is, the savior of Nosgoth.
Oof. Okay. So there are 3 red-horned demons to deal with in Uschtenheim. There's a barrier to stop us from leaving at the moment. So the humans don't matter. It's just the demons that need to be killed. The gates are actually open. It's just the barriers that stop you from leaving. So I tend to just throw that extra bit of damage while I'm at a distance. Let them two sort of do their best, even though their best isn't great. I'm going in. I was going to say while his back's turned, but turn around pretty quick. Okay, there is another human. So on this stretch back to the Sarafan Stronghold, you really might want to keep your health up. So I'm going to coax this guy over this way, not too close to the demon. Although I thought the demon would shoot me at this distance. He can. Okay, here he comes. So I want to just fight this guy and not have the demon throw in stuff. Oh, so yeah, the demon is throwing projectiles. Okay, so for some reason he's gone around the corner. Haha, gotcha. Okay, not so successful. But it's okay. So I saw Raziel look up. There is a guy up here. We can try and get health back. If he turns around, that is. I think he's still alive. Yes, he is. And that wasn't a lot. So here is a point where you might want to actually get your health back. So I am actually going to shift. I'm too stubborn to shift usually, but I will. Okay, so the portal is just in the corner. And this is a funny portal. Sometimes it won't let you shift back even though you're standing on it. So just keep moving around. And we're going to have two demons, so just hop down to spawn them and run back up, let the other enemies deal with them. So they're both red-horned demons. I sometimes try to see if I can get a few hits, but it's not usually successful from such a distance. But I am hitting him, so that's good. Also, they can throw projectiles at you, be aware of that. Because sometimes it's like they're too far away. So I'm actually going to go down and deal with this one. Oh, that was mean. Okay, and ow! Oof, that made me jump. Oh, don't you do it. Oh wow! I accidentally picked up a stick. That was an impressive death. I am pleased. Okay. Impaled a red-horned demon. So there's some more enemies you can get health from. Ah! See what I mean about these projectile shooters? This is why you want to get rid of them, because they just mess up everything. Where's this guy? There he is. Oh, come on, stop. There we go. Well, it's better. Okay. Do I want this? I don't think I want this. Okay, so this guy is new. We have a black horned demon. So when some of the demons smash the ground like that, especially the red and black horned demons, you can't really dodge them very well. Like, not to spin around anyway, they just really target you. So to get out of here, sometimes, like I mentioned the first time round when we were here, you need to climb up this ladder, which is actually where I hopped down, and then come along here. So we're just about at the swamp now. There's not many more forced demon encounters, but there's still the worst one to come. I think there might be maybe just 2 more forced encounters. Oh, come on. Okay, so if you are struggling, just remove your targeting and then just lunge wildly. So I'm being stubborn. I want to try and kill the guys to get my health back. Is there another weapon? Yes. Oh, why? It's still not much. There is another guy actually though. I don't know if he's near others that might come over. If so, I'll just ignore him. Here he is. Oh, hit the ground. No, it's annoying when you're too close to the ground. Now he should come on over. Okay, maybe not. Whatever, I'm going. I'm leaving. So there is a save altar here if you need it. Forgot to mention there's also a save altar in Uschtenheim. Gonna swap Reavers to make it easier to wander about. Go away. I'm not attacking you. I was thinking about it. Changed my mind. So yeah, Air Reaver makes it easier to travel through the swamp. So at the gate, try to be to the right hand side. That's the way to open it, because you can be there for ages trying to open the gate and you're just getting attacked. So that's annoying. some reason he was a bit of a pushover just there. So I believe it's only one more forced encounter, which is the worst. So from here, just jump straight on down. There we go. Ooh, and up here. Okay, and we can see that the water level here has gone right down in this era. So now we need to get back up, but we need the Air Reaver, which I actually do already have because I swapped it over in the swamp. Come here. Okay, that was kind of lucky. Just get this other guy as well. Oh. Kind of didn't want them both coming over. Okay. Hey, do you know what? Let's just hop up and claim the soul. Okay. I'll corner him. Okay, nearly at full health, but it's okay. So, well, I already have the Air Reaver, but if you don't, that's the font where to get it. And then use it here. And be aware that them shades just on the ledge behind can be shooting at you while you're trying to kill those demons. So that's annoying. Okay, and straight on up to here. So now we can climb this. And, ooh, okay, I fell down. I fell down, but I'm okay. Okay, try again. We're hopping over to here. I will have another attempt. Come on, third time lucky, Raziel. Come on, you can do it. Yes. You just weren't believing hard enough in yourself. Okay, so now this is the Subterranean Ruins. That's kind of the main section after leaving the swamp. This is this whole section. Ow. Okay, so left. And then you can just hop straight down here and into the water. So this would lead us back to the chamber underneath the pillars where the Elder God is residing.
You have failed me, Raziel.
I wonder, Old One. Did you truly resurrect me, or were you simply there when I awakened from my torment in the abyss? I suspect you found me merely convenient, dropped in your lair by Kain, indestructible for some reason, a durable and gullible tool for you to manipulate. This one thing I readily admit. I have been used by others time and again, but always I seem to stray from their path. What is it about me, demon, that makes me such an unreliable instrument? Why do I survive one trial after another, on and on, in an endless succession of humiliating deaths and resurrections? It seems there is much more to my destiny and my history than I know.
Perhaps more than you know as well.
Okay, so there is a save altar in this room, and I recommend using this one because the battle that's coming up, it's got a lot of demons, a lot of tough demons, very tough, and you might want to rage quit. Not saying you will, you just might want to take a break and come back to it with a clear mind. So it's actually coming up very soon, this horrible, horrible battle, and I am not at full health. So I'm not sure whether to shift or whether to risk it on the health that I have. Okay, just jumping to get away a bit faster. Okay, so just use it to open the door. So it is always more frustrating when you've been killed than it is to actually just purposely shift to top your health up. I mean, when you're killed, all you do is you are forced to shift into the spectral realm, and be sure to activate that beacon. I'm actually going to shift. Oh, he's trying to shoot stuff. Haha, and I've landed right on the portal. And they are shooting at me. So that's mean. Oh, I'm not at full health yet. So yeah, this point is the only time when you realise that these guys are actually present in the spectral realm as well. It's the first time we've actually been in spectral around them. So we're coming up to the pillars now, so brace yourself.
What a fool.
Okie dokie. So I just went ahead and dealt with them. So I probably could have done that without having to shift to put my health back up. But this first guy that's here, try to be on the stairs side of him so he's between you and the other two. I'm not really sure if the projectiles from the other two hit the guy or whether they're blocked. It's something. Just if that might happen, I've always been in too much of a panic to notice, but just get rid of him as fast as you can, and then, just like I did, lunge wildly with the Reaver. Don't bother targeting, because it's easier to just keep moving around with these two. So now we are pretty much home free. We are close to the Sarafan Stronghold now. So there's no more demon encounters, that's what I mean by pretty much. So in terms of that, we are completely home free. So ignore everyone, they will only get in the way. There's too many of them if you want your health back. And if you don't, they're just not worth bothering with. Okay, so there is another beacon on the left here. So do you recognise where we are? We've not been here in quite a while. Trying to think what part it was. I think it was part 1. I don't know if we've actually been back here. I've never noticed. Oh, both of them got me. But anyway, if you keep moving, they're not likely to actually follow you either. Keep moving, she says. Okay, leave her, I think. Yes, this woman. The others aren't likely to actually follow you unless you linger at one of the others. So you can get your health back from her. As long as she's not going over this way, which she's never done before. God damn. I'm too far away to get the soul. I didn't even mean to pick the torch up. Come on, soul. No, not you. Oh no, everyone's coming. No. I don't even want a torch. I don't have a chance to put it down. So you can still easily die because, for goodness sake, is the only reason. So yes, there are these enemies. No, go away. So let me see if I can come over here without them following me, because I don't want the torch and I can't get rid of it without standing still. Right. I think she was too far away. Ha! Not that time. So there are two of these ladies on the ice that throw projectiles. You are better off just using your Reaver to get rid of the guy. You won't get the soul, but it gets him out of the way quicker. So you kind of just want to get rid of these on the ice, these people, because they do just get in your way. They throw things at you and that's just mean. Okay. So at the time skip where we used the time streaming device in the swamp, if you happen to come back to the Sarafan Stronghold at this point before going to see if Janos is alive, Raziel will comment that we need something to break the ice. So this lake is covered in ice and the doors won't open. So we now indeed have something to break the ice. So I did not point that over there out at all. That is for the Fire Reaver. So the fire font is just across the opposite side here. Okay. So we are going to use the Fire Reaver in this. Okie dokie, the ice has broken, so now we can get the doors open, but we will need the Light Reaver. So here is the font for that. You can just hop straight on up to this ledge. Okay, so there is only one more forced encounter, and that is with humans, so you don't really need to have full health. I mean, I'm not going to recommend you top your health up. Okay, and the door's closing, don't forget about that. Write that down, that's got to be important for something.
Seize him!
Okay, so this is our forced encounter, and just get rid of the woman. Lunge wildly. Okay. So the door straight ahead is blocked, but there is a door just to the left. And we are 100% home free from this point. You will see why.
Suddenly and inexplicably, I discovered the Reaver suspiciously laid across my path. Again, I sensed nothing of that temporal distortion, the peculiar sense of displacement I had felt when I encountered the Reaver in William's chapel. Cornered here with the blade, I suffered the same nameless dread that I had experienced when Janos first presented the Reaver to me. I felt at once repelled by the blade, and yet overwhelmingly compelled to seize it.
So, Raziel, here we are, finally. You have no choice but to confront me now. And I am not so foolish as I've let you believe. We have business to conclude.
You knew I would lead the Sarafan to Janos, you vile bastard. You've been orchestrating my every move. My destiny is an amusement to you.
It was fun while it lasted. I think not, Raziel. Malik, do not let this creature leave. He poses a danger to the Circle. Poor, deluded Raziel. Did you somehow imagine you had the guile to change history on me? I'm the Time Streamer. I knew your every intention before you did, you imbecile.
Lord Mobius, there is trouble within. The Circle is under
Hold
attack.
fast, Malik. This one is the real danger to us.
What are you trying to concoct here, Mobius?
You toxic creature. Did you imagine I'd simply allow you to run loose, corrupting everything you encounter?
I admit that I've underestimated you to this point, Mobius. But it's a mistake I won't repeat.
Wrong again, Raziel. Now, Malik, bolt the door.
Using his staff to disable my Wraithblade, Mobius effectively disarmed me, leaving me with only one choice of weapon. And yet I confess, it was not the lack of options, but blind rage that made me take up the Reaver. In my fury, it felt as though my hand had acted of its own will. And now, that same hand clutched the hilt with unyielding strength, and I felt a constrained tingling, a remote but palpable sense of longing, as the disabled Wraithblade tried vainly to embrace its physical twin.
Okay, so now we have the actual Reaver Blade, and that just makes us like 200% cool right now. And also, Raziel's health will not go down in the material realm. This Reaver Blade is sustaining Raziel's health, and if he takes a hit from an enemy, his health will also not go down. We are now invincible from this moment on. So we are like 1000% home free at this point. So also the scene that was happening there, the cries in the background, that is the starting cutscene section from Blood Omen 1. Those are the events that happen at the start. What you heard was Vorador attacking the Circle of 9, so that was also mentioned in part 1 of this video as well. But that was happening right now. So let's go.
demon. Back to hell with you!
I recognize these two as my former brethren, in life as Sarafan, and in unlife as Kain's vampire sons. Melchiah and Zephon, the weakest of Kain's brood. These bastards had no idea what future lay in store for them, how they would become the very thing they so despised. The Reaver hummed with ravenous anticipation. Janos had called it a vampiric blade, endowed with the power to drain its victims of their lifeblood. I was eager to see what the Reaver would do to these two.
Okay, so we are battling Melchiah and Zephon. So Melchiah in the brown and Zephon in the... is it grey? I think it's grey, I can't tell actually. But as Raziel has just said, the Reaver Blade will drain the blood from the enemies. So if you watch the blood splats, it actually gets pulled into the Reaver. So again, you're using the lunge wildly strats, because these enemies from now just block a lot. And, well, we're invincible. So why not? Just saves time. So run around and round and round. I often take bets on who's going to die first. I think Zephon's actually had a few more hits on him. Ooh. Ouch. So there we go, Zephon is down. Zephon has died in his human form, killed by Raziel.
As Melchiah and Zephon fell before my blade, I felt the Reaver's bloodthirst as keenly as I ever had when I was still a vampire. I could sense the boundary between us dissolving. The Reaver was consumed with my rage, and I was intoxicated by its bloodlust. The blade had a vitalizing effect on me. My physical energy no longer decayed over time, and the wounds inflicted by my foes healed almost instantly. The Reaver had made me invincible.
Okay, so the blue flash that left the bodies, I don't know the significance of that. It was like their souls, but I just don't know why it looked so different to anything else in the game. Perhaps because this is a monumental moment in time, so it's like it's pointing out an important event has happened. Okay, so find the only open door. So the door we came through is closed, so no going through there. No, not this way. How can I get lost in a square area? Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Have you come to reclaim the monster's black heart?
You'll have to get through us first.
My former brethren, Dumah and Rahab, confronted me next. This all seemed so elegantly choreographed. Exhilarated by the Reaver, I was drunk with revelations. I could finally appreciate the delicious irony of Kain's blasphemous private joke, and I reveled as I colluded with him across the centuries. For it was I who put these bastards in their tomb, thus providing the corpses for Kain to raise as his vampire sons a millennium from now.
It was Raziel. This whole time, he killed them. So, we have Rahab and Dumah. Rahab in the blue, Dumah in the purple. So also in Soul Reaver 1 it was mentioned that they were lost, like in a forest. I don't know if they specified a forest, but that's how they died, so I don't know whether it's to do with you forget your memories and that's what they thought had happened, or whether it's just this moment where time is changing. Raziel has changed their death now. Okay, Rahab and Dumah bite the dust. Let's move on.
Get back to the pit you crawled from, demon.
And here at last was my brother Turel, who along with Dumah would bear me into the abyss without questioning Kain's command. So dutiful and righteous, even as a vampire. I guess some habits die hard. The vampire Turel had eluded my vengeance. The Sarafan Turel would not.
Okay, so Turel in green. So this is the enemy we did not get to kill in Soul Reaver 1. So I believe it was all down to timing. They didn't have the time, they ran out of time to add him in. But they do point it out, they're not just shying away from it, they mention it in the game. Like just now, Raziel mentioned that Turel had eluded him. And this is not the end of the story. So, you know, there is more to come, and it does pick up on Turel. I won't spoil it. Okay, and Turel is down, so 5 brothers bite the dust. Who is left? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, can I go back? I can. Just a fun fact, really. So this is before King William is killed, so there's no tomb, no murals in there, no murals on the windows either. So that's it. That's all I wanted to point out. Continue.
So, vampire, here we are. You've destroyed my brethren, and now you've come for me. You'll find I'm not such easy prey. I don't want to kill you, but I will if I must. Return the heart to me, and we can end this now. So, you've come to avenge that filthy parasite and reclaim his foul heart. You're a righteous fiend, aren't you? Apparently I am. No, vampire. This is where it ends. But you won't be leaving this room. Now, let's finish this. I'll make it mercifully quick. As you did for Janos? No, that beast had eluded us for far too long. It would have been a shame to end him too quickly. It's ironic, really. The great Janos Audron turned out to be no challenge at all. Thanks to you. Did you hear his cowardly screams when I tore that black heart out of his carcass?
Okay, so we are fighting ourselves. So, Raziel in human form. So, once Raziel is actually down, as he stands still like the other enemies when they've got one hit left and you're just about to hit the final blow, he can recover, but it only takes one more hit to put him back down again. So yeah, these battles at the end here can last a while because these guys block a lot. They have a surprising amount of health as well, considering, you know, there is no challenge here with being invincible. Let's come back to the circle. Come on, back to the middle.
I renounce you. And so it ends. My history comes full circle.
Sensing its twin, the Wraithblade uncoiled itself from me, and instead wound lovingly around its former self. I felt its grip loosen, and as the blade left me, its absence chilled me more than its presence ever had. A foreboding sense of emptiness and loss stole over me, and a terrible revelation gathered like a storm at the edge of my awareness. With all other foes exhausted, the conjoined blades turned themselves on me, and I realized, finally, why I had sensed nothing when Janos offered me the blade. The Reaver was never forged to be a soul-stealing weapon. The ravenous, soul-devouring entity trapped in the blade was, and always had been, me. This is why the blade was destroyed when Kain tried to strike me down. The Reaver could not devour its own soul. The paradox shattered the blade. So, this was my terrible destiny. To play out this purgatorial cycle for all eternity. I could not bear it. Despair overwhelmed me. You.
Are you enjoying this game? Don't fight it. strides into it. Oh, was this your destiny for me all along? Trust me.
I felt myself weakening, unable to hold on any longer. The Reaver was too strong. The compulsion to simply let go, too great. And then, a growing sense of vertigo and the familiar displacement. The paradoxical moment when my twinned soul hovered both outside and inside the Reaver blade. This was the instant, the glimmer of temporal distortion Kain had been counting on all along. This was the edge of the coin, the minute flicker of probability upon which Kain had gambled everything.
Now you are free to reclaim your true destiny, Raziel.
Behind Kain's eyes, I could see new memories blooming and dying as history labored to reshuffle itself around this monumental obstruction. And I could see by the dawning horror on his face that perhaps we had strained history too far this time. That by trying to alter my fate, he may have introduced a fatal paradox.
My God. The Hilden. We walked right into their trap. Raziel, Janos must stay dead.
But Kain's warning was lost as I slipped into the spirit realm, too weak to maintain my physical form. And there, waiting for me as always, was the Reaver, the Wraithblade, my own soul, twinned and bound eternally to me. And I realized that I could never escape my terrible destiny. I had merely postponed it. History abhors a paradox.
Okie dokie, so that was Soul Reaver 2. So once you've completed the game, you get this code you can use for bonus material in the menu. So you don't have to complete the game to have save files to then have the code. Just write it down somewhere and you can just use the code straight away as long as you know it. So the ending can seem confusing, so I will do a lot of explaining. It's all the time travelling that makes it so difficult to grasp. Firstly, let me explain that the Reaver was originally an enchanted sword forged by Vorador when he was a human. He was then turned into a vampire as a reward. It was designed to destroy the ancient vampire's prophesized adversary called the Hilden Champion. This end moment is the first time we've heard of the Hilden, but they have also been referred to as the Unspoken and the Dark Entity, but more so just in the Blood Omen games. Now, in Soul Reaver 1, during the first confrontation with Kain, the blade breaks when Kain strikes Raziel, and the soul that was captive in the blade was released and bound itself to Raziel, becoming the Wraithblade. So there was a soul inside the blade at that point in time. At this point in time, the fall of the Circle of Nine, there is currently no spirit inside the blade. During the cutscene, Raziel's Wraithblade entered the Reaver blade, which then both turned on him and impaled him. He himself was then being absorbed into the blade, and that is when he realized the soul that had been captive within the blade was him. It was his own soul. That is why in Soul Reaver 1 the blade broke. It could not destroy himself, and as a result the Wraithblade was created. So the Wraithblade is a form of Raziel, some version of him, and thus is a paradox in himself. In itself, there's like two Raziels at the same time. But here, as the Wraithblade is trying to devour Raziel's soul, Kain is taking the opportunity to create a new paradox and alter history by sparing Raziel from his fate. Kain removes the Reaver from Raziel at the precise moment, the edge of the coin, as it's referred to stop his soul from entering the blade, and I believe also to remove Raziel's Wraithblade altogether. Because when you think about it, Raziel would enter the blade here, and in years to come, the Soul Reaver story would happen. His soul would be in the blade, it shatters, Raziel goes on a quest to kill his brothers, not only once, but twice. And we eventually end up at this moment and Raziel's soul enters the blade. And this will forever loop around. So I think Kain's intention is also to remove the Wraithblade. But this failed to an extent. Raziel's soul did not enter the Reaver at this point in time. But it becomes apparent when Raziel slips into the spectral realm that the Wraithblade is still present with him. But the future is still to come. So this story is continued in Legacy of Kain Defiance, but I will not be playing that straight away. When I do return to the series, I will play Blood Omen, the first game of the series, but that won't be for some time yet. On another note, for Soul Reaver 1, I talked about a lot of content that got cut or the idea didn't get very far. And this time I forgot, so I'll talk about some of these points. Firstly, the Air and Water Reavers were supposed to be part of the game, and their elemental symbols can be seen around the pillars, in the chamber beneath the pillars, where the Elder God is. There was going to be a Spirit Reaver too, and the remnants of its forge, or what can be deduced as its forge, can be seen at the bottom of the lake at the Sarafan Stronghold. Another thing that was removed / didn't make it very far was Reaver augmentations. For each elemental blade, you can gain a special effect that can be used. An example of these abilities are actually used in Legacy of Kain Defiance. Various enemy types were excluded from the game, including other vampires. So the only vampires you see are the main characters, and the impaled ones, just as, you know, around the map, but they look very much human. Some areas that have seemingly been cut down are Uschtenheim, and also the swamp, which was supposed to have higher ledges to climb to. And you can also supposedly access a vampire village there too. And also, just like Soul Reaver 1, it looks as though there were going to be glyphs, but this time they would be named after the pillars. So I assume they would have a power based on each corresponding pillar. And now, I will see you in my next walkthrough. Thanks for watching, I hope you've enjoyed Soul Reaver 2. Take it easy, guys and girls.